you say, who might blink? It may not be a blink. It could be some of the 10-pin gods and perhaps a dodgy 10-pin. Who knows? But Jens looking for 3 in a row.
And does he get it? Well, there's that square bottom you were talking about.
Trust me, they are. Brand new twister pins, and you've got to hit them. You can't wobble them. You've actually got to knock them right over. So I would say a solid 9-pin, but it's not solid because it's wobbling, isn't it? Fraction high in the pocket, trips the 4-pin. Doesn't trip that 9-pin. Come on, he's saying, get over. And so that could be the first glitch that we talked about.
Well, the old single pin spares that we always sit up here and say, they're easy, these guys never miss. And then they do.
You heard it here first from Nick Halling, and I'm sure Jens Nick will have something to say about that. That could actually cost him the match, couldn't it?
Well, you see it over and over again. It's a single pin. They'll make it 49 times out of 50, 99 times out of 100, and then something comes along. Pressure. Suddenly you think, I've got to get this one. You tighten up, you miss it. And if Dominic can hit him with a strike, the match changes complexion, and he can't. He's blinked as well.
Oh, crikey. A 2-8-10 split. Now, this is pretty impossible. Has left that. The ball's just rushed on again now. You know, it's just a little bit extra speed. The ball hasn't turned up to the pocket. Just hits the head pin. It's light. 2-8-10 split, and this is likely to be open as well. So this is going to stay all level. This is crazy. Strikes galore from both players, and then an open frame from both.
Well, that's extraordinary, isn't it? There was a real chance there for Dominic, but back to back, they stay together. And this was always going to be a tough one. So instead of jumping into the lead, he slipped a little bit further behind as a result of that.
Yes, dropped 2 pins on that. The deficit moves to 20 now.
But that's a sickener for Dominic. That was his chance to jump in and say, guess what, old man, you're going down. Didn't happen. And now Jens has a chance to say, oh dear, look at that. Well, that had a wobble earlier. This time it didn't even wobble, it just was left standing.
Yeah, the ball is supposed to take that 9-pin away on a perfect strike 1-3 pocket shot. It's getting too much rotation in the back, and it's just a fraction high, and that ball has cut straight through the 1-3 and the 5, leaving that 9-pin standing. Now, well, we sort of missed this last time with a hooking ball, which shouldn't have hooked. Let's see if he'll redirect his radar this time.
Yeah, anybody can miss one. You missed 2 of these back to back. Well, you have no one to blame but for yourself if you lose. This time, he makes no mistake.
Yes, took a salute from the crowd and had a little shout of yes. But he really shouldn't have missed that first one. It could be so costly.
He liked it. He says, yep, that'll do. It's tough to know what will take the smile off Jens's face. Even when he's losing, he's got a wry smile. Well. Better to have the 10-pin gods on your side than bowl a good one and not get all 10.
Dominic Barrett, a living legend. Straight through the nose, right in the 1-5 pocket. Inside his mark, overreaction in the back end. Well, and something trips the 10-pin away. How lucky he was. Keeps him in the contest. But he's 20 pins down.
So Jens hasn't had a strike for a couple of frames. He's not going to get one there either, and his game is right off the boil, and he will have an anxious look on his face now, and so will his girlfriend Britta, because that is not what she wanted. It's certainly not what Jens wanted.
I'll tell you something, Nick, I don't know if you'll see on a replay. Jens actually stuck on that first shot on the approach and lurched forward, and his ball was out of control as it left his hand, and it just sailed out to the right of the lane. Got hooked up in the lane conditioner.
This is the split that Dominic had, and he took out the lead pin and left the other 2. Well, Jens has given that a real good go, but it's another open frame, and that's no good.
Yeah, it was that 2-8-10 split again, almost the impossible split. You see two of the pins being taken out. The 2-8 sleeper. Another unfortunate open frame.
And it's another opportunity for the young man from Essex to jump in and say, right, let's give this a go. That'll do it.
Yeah, that makes a big difference to the 20-pin deficit that Dominic had. And it's interesting to see that Yen's game is slightly broken down now at the halfway stage. 2 open frames out of 5.
Well, that's not the greatest card ever, with that horrible split sat in the middle of it, but at least he's got doubles bookending it. When you look at Jens's card, though, he started off with a double, and as you say, Cass, hasn't produced a whole lot since. And the defending champion, as they sort of head for the turn, as it were. This is a sprint now, 5 frames, and the defending champion is behind by 12.
Interestingly, Jens has just taken a re-rack. He obviously thought that one of the pins wasn't quite on spot. He's having a good old glare down at that rack. He's allowed to re-rack and set them up again. But I'm just wondering, is that just a little bit of nerves creeping in there? He's under pressure with 5 frames to go.
Smoother at the approach and smoother at the rack as well. That looked a lot better. So Jens took his time. It was noticeable that he really spent a little bit of time steadying himself.
Yeah, I've got a feeling he's moved just a couple of balls left on the approach there, trying to open up the lane a bit more, and he's certainly made the 1-3 pocket. Very nice shot indeed.
So you think he's made an adjustment? Maybe the lane conditioning is starting to break down a little bit now.
Well, as I say, these two guys are playing in one another's area, and we know that the lane condition does break down. Let's see what Dominic can do.
Can he keep his nose in front? No, he can't. And that's not an easy one. How often do you see the head pin or the lead pin of these 3 left?
Yeah, the 3-6-10, this is probably Dominic's worst shot of the whole match. Inside his mark, he's just fallen off the shot there. Of course, he's got the early overreaction, and he doesn't even know it. Look at that.
Just as he's got his nose in front, he slipped behind again, and this is very missable. He's got to make sure he connects with that left hand of the 3, and he's got too far, and that's always the danger with that one. You see it time after time with that particular rack. When you've got those 3 pins left, they miss the lead pin.
Well, what he's trying to do here is he's trying to sell it to the outside of the lane and then hook it back into the 3 and the 6, but he's got hooked up with the lane conditioner on the outside edge of the lane, and the ball's just abseiled past.
How costly will that open frame be for Dominic Barrett? Find out after the break.
Just as he had his nose in front, he slipped behind 23 pins, and Jens now has had a huge let-off. And it would be no surprise now to see the experienced man from Bremen in Germany really turn on the jets here, because this has been a real battle.
If he wants anything at all, he wants a strike.
Yeah.
Fantastic shot under pressure from the man from Bremen, and he knows it. He knows he's got the younger man in his sights. He's also got the finishing post in his sights as well. We're not that far away from frame number 10. It's a great double.
Well, we've talked about pressure and how you cope with it and how you deal with it. Here is the World 10-Pin Masters debutant in a real pressure situation. He is adrift by 23 pins here in frame 7 of game 2. It's strike or go home. That may not be enough to keep him in this match.
No, disappointed. It wasn't a bad shot. It's quite a heavy hit in the pocket. Ball hit really